Okay, it's now pointing in the wrong direction. If I go to the rotate Y now, and let's move that, move it the other way. And let's move that into position. So let's just look at that. So instead of moving, what happened is that you were using the rotate X and the rotate Z to get into this position here, and all you needed to do was use the rotate Y. So I went and I moved the rotate Y, and again you can see if I move it in the graph editor, it moves the view here. You can also do the same thing just by moving it using in gimbal mode the Y action. You just move it and you eyeball it into position, press S to keyframe it, and it does the same thing. It does the exact same curve that I did when I was moving it in the graph editor. Okay, so let's just take a look at that, and we can let's just fine-tune that a little bit. There we go. So now if we look at our animation, let's just take a look and see if this is working the way that we want it. And what it's doing is now what's going on here is that it's kind of it's going off frame here, and it's not really doing the it's not staying focused on the building like I want it to. So if I were to go to that point where it disappears, and I think I can fix that by going to, and I'm selecting this handle like that, and I'm going to select this handle, and I'm just going to push that curve down a little bit. I'm going to straighten that curve like that, and just look at that. So this just straighten my curve out a little bit, and now you may want to maybe just kind of fuss around with it. You can just experiment and play around with it if you want. And I'm noticing now, let's take a look at this curve editor and just see what's going on. There's a little bit of something going on here, and I can straighten that out and kind of make this, oops, see, hold down the shift key if you're going to move your keyframes around like that. And I've got two keyframes going on here. I mistakenly put a keyframe here, and I'm just going to delete this keyframe out here in my timeline. Go delete. That was a mistake on my part. And then I'm going to make this tangent flat. That. And now we have a nice little motion here. Now I noticed that possibly you wanted to maybe point the camera up at this point and look at the window. Look up at the kind of look up towards the building, towards the sky as you're going past this building. If you wanted to do that, you certainly could do that. If you were to go to the rotate, let's see, believe it's the rotate, oops, undo that. It's rotate X or Z at this point. You can see how they're kind of close together like that. And let's just take one of these axes here. Let's take the rotate X. And what we can do is there's keyframe between there and there. And we can do it a couple ways. We can point it up like that. And let's see if we can look up at the window like that. And let's just see what that looks like. And that gives you a nice smooth looking curve. If you wanted to add a little bit more, you can certainly just go to this point here, add a keyframe like I did there, and manually I'm going to make the, oops, Control Z, I'm going to select that. I'm going to make this keyframe flat tangent flat, and it'll give me a nice smooth curve, and you can adjust that up like so. And then you have a nice even looking camera move there. There's one more thing that I noticed here, and you can use the graph editor to fix this as well. I'm going to go to the rotate Y on this. Notice here that, let's just look at this motion here. Let's minimize that. When it starts out, it starts to turn. So there's a rotation turning towards the left, and then it starts to move. Okay, so let's open up our graph editor again, and let's just select all of the curves and go like there. Now let's just look and see what's going on. So here is the rotate Y here, and this is what's going on. So there's a going a little closer here. There's a rotate on the Y axis like that, and it turns, and then it flattens out, and then it continues on. And if you look at the translate, let's look at all the translates for here. What's going on is that the translate's not moving at all. So you're getting kind of a mechanical move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that rotate Y, focus in on it, and I'm going to go to that keyframe, which is frame 21 now. Oops. And I am going to just kind of bring this, I'm going to move this down like that. So what it's doing is that it starts to move. Where do I start to move? And then it starts to rotate. And then while it's still rotating, it's starting to move. And that's going to give you a nice smooth action. So let's take a look at that. And you can fuss with that. I can adjust that a little more if I wanted to. And then we've got a nice little camera move going on there. So let's go back to my graph editor. And if I select a keyframe in the graph editor, press F, it'll focus in on that frame there. And now I can even do some more fine adjustment. I can select one of the handles there, and I have a nice smooth looking curve. And if you have a smooth curve, then you're going to have smooth action. So let's just take a look here. Frame 1. I'm going to start at frame 1 there and play it. Nice looking smooth thing there. Moving around, look up at the building, at this window, and then it comes to a nice smooth stop. Look at that one more time. Just like that, and we come to a stop, just like that.